Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, non-dying time is here. That's right, we're talking about a Halloween special on Kill by Kill. Well, greetings and salutations, Internet. Your old pal Patrick Hamilton, coming to you once again from a secret location. This is the Kill by Kill podcast, where we are dedicated to celebrating the least discussed component of any film, the characters. And as always, there's only one person I trust to rescue me if I am zonked out of my mind on drugged cheese pizza, the one and only Gina Radcliffe. How are you doing, Gina?
I'm feeling great. I'm ready to party the night away with the drug-laced pizza, and then lots of 70s stand-up comedians. Most gut-wrenching, horrifying scenario I can imagine.
I felt like this was a Saw scenario, only there was shtick instead of razor blades and a reverse bear trap. We haven't even really revealed what the movie is yet. Would you like to do the honors after a month full of hype for this episode?
We are doing the 1979 classic, Skatetown USA.
Yes, Skatetown USA, in the midst of Roller Boogie and a bunch of disco movies. This was trying to capitalize on it all. And by capitalize, I mean kind of fuck around with it, but not really commit.
If you really like, it was actually a little bit pre-Airplane, but it feels very airplane-y in its comedy. There is it's basically some roller skating and then some comedy bits, mostly by people who were on the Gong Show.
Yeah, I described it to our guest, who I'm about to introduce, as what would happen if the Gong Show didn't have a gong and it just kept going.
And there's a lot. We talk about the characters on this podcast. There's a lot of characters in this movie. Every single one of them is in a different movie.
But first, we need to introduce our guest. Now, she is a returning champion to Kill by Kill, and she usually joins us for special occasions, be that Valentine's Day or our Patreon episodes. She is the one, the only Becky Wilson. How are you doing, Becky?
Hello.
I'm so happy to have you here for this spectacular motion picture event.
Pray tell, Patrick and Gina, how did you come about choosing this title for Halloween?
I think we were both very excited, maybe inordinately excited, unreasonably excited that this was finally coming out on DVD, because it was for a while a lost treasure, let's call it, because you may have noticed that for a movie that featured relatively, second tier to unknown cast, this has a smoking soundtrack. Yeah. And the reason why it was never released on DVD or VHS up to this point was because they could not get any of the music rights secured. So this movie came out 40 years ago this month. It was just made available on any sort of home entertainment format last month. And we were both very excited about it. I forget which one of us actually said, hey, why don't we do this for Halloween? But
it's just kismet.
Whichever one of us mentioned it, the other one says, yes, let's do it. There was no debating. There was no, I don't know. The fans might not like that, but no, it's like, yeah, no, we're doing this. and I will tell you that as far as I'm concerned, this counts as a Halloween movie. And that is because it is written by one Nick Castle, who is probably best known to listeners as the Shape from Halloween. So he played Michael Myers and at some point was in the process of writing this movie. Now, I don't know about you, but that's versatility.
Yeah. He was paid in cocaine and got residuals in cocaine and wrote this movie, which I don't believe is written. He handed in an outline and then everyone arrived on the day said, I'm not going to say that.
Horrific going on in this movie.
So yes, actual piles of cocaine were pressed together and then thinly sliced into paper, and then the script was written on that.
Yes.
Yes.
And it went up everyone's nose, especially one of the stars, Maureen McCormick, who wrote in her autobiography that this film was, quote, a lot like a disco. There was a lot of cocaine being done on the set, and many people were open about it.
Yeah, this is definitely very much a 70s comedy where a lot of shit happens. None of it really ties together. There's the barest trace of a plot.
No,
the actual
stakes
are
low. Low.
Yeah, they are low.
Stakes.
The actual plot is maybe about a half hour's worth of the movie.
Maybe.
I mean, I tried to rewatch the episode of Chips that has the roller disco episode, but they've taken it off Amazon. It's disappeared from time immemorial. So I was only able to watch highlights, but lo and behold, a good third of the cast of this movie also appears in the Chips episode that's about roller boogie, including Ruth Buzzy.
Oh.
Yeah,
this cast is it's like some sort of like you stumbled onto your parents' Halloween party. That's how bizarre this cast is. You've got for the kids, you've got Scott Baio, who is he gets top billing and everything, but he's not the main character, thank God.
It was like he was on set for a
I feel
day.
like he might have been offered the lead and then they were like, "Oh, you can't skate at
He's
all."
he's never shown skating.
So
I don't even know
the
if
manager.
he's never shown skating. And I mean, he looks like he's about 15 and everybody's a decade older than him.
Yeah.
He's got this like unbuttoned shirt, not a single chest hair to be seen, which is hilarious. You've got Maureen McCormick, who's
Marsha.
Her character is super slutty. You could tell because you could see her nipples right through her tube top. They're very prominent. This
that was also just the 70s.
Well, yeah, that's true. That was a very nipple-y decade. I mean, let's just let's be honest. I saw this movie when I was a child. It's not really for kids, so there's a lot of like close-ups of boobs and butts. There's a whole extremely drawn out sequence where a guy keeps falling down and grabbing onto women's boobs and clutching onto their butts, and it's all very hilarious. But yeah, getting back to this cast, you've got the extremely boring hero who is an actor named, I already forgotten his name, Greg Bradford.
Yeah, he never went on to do anything.
Yeah,
there's no reason to remember his name.
I believe.
Yeah, he's just Blandy McBlanderson all all the way.
He's a haircut and a chest. That's
and then you've got his antagonist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
His antagonist. Hard eyes. Who is none other than, in his film debut, Mr. Patrick Swayze.
He oozes movie star charisma in a movie that entirely lacks it. His pants are so fucking tight. But he moves with a grace that you can see from the minute, like, oh, he's a dancer. And then when he tries to do a roller skating move, and he is trying, like, he obviously worked at this, going like, I know how to control my body. I know how to leap in the air. How hard can it be with 10-pound skates on each foot? Mm-hmm. And it turns out it's fucking hard.
But he's going to add a belt. And then
he's whipping that belt around, bringing a little bit of much needed S&M to roller skating.
I mean, this movie has two modes: shtick or roller skate review. And for his two roller skate review moments, I guess three, there's a group number with him and the West Side Rollers.
Mm-hmm. Yes. But, wait, stop right there. Yes. He's the head of a roller skating gang.
Oh, we were all part of a roller skating gang
with
in the
matching
70s.
Jackets.
And purple t-shirt.
This is the version of the Warriors I always wanted. A West Coast Warriors, where it's very roller skating and disco based. We don't have baseball bats, and
no.
There aren't any lesbian gangs with
Well,
knives.
I mean, some of them are carrying switchblades for some reason.
For some reason.
Well, I love the fact that they come on. They like basically it turns into like a rollerball where they come onto the rink and they're just bashing into people and then the DJ or the host is like,
the wizard. The wizard.
The wizard who launches lightning bolts out of his fingers.
Who is apparently actual
That's kind
magic.
of why I thought you guys picked this movie, because unlike, oh, how many people get killed? Let's go through the movie. How many kills? This one could be, how many times does this man make people appear out of his finger?
But do they still exist? Do they get launched into a bubble universe where they only have their side story
These
and they
are
never
questions
interact with another human
that
being?
don't have answers.
No, none of us have answers.
But yeah, he's like, so while you guys are getting bandaged up, so apparently this is a regular thing that Ace and his gang do. They show up at this rink and just beat the crap out of the other skaters.
And the owner or owners, Flip Wilson and Billy Barty.
I was gonna say for the parents in the audience, we've got Flip Wilson, Billy Barty, Ruth Buzzy, and
Judy Landers,
a lot of Rockford Files guest stars in this.
Oh, David Landsberg, who was the 70s nerd really for a lot of time. He just was a schlubby dude. He plays a newlywed who grabs butts.
Yeah, and boobs.
And then you've got, in a completely different movie, you've got Ron Palillo.
Who I believe is playing Disco Wolverine.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a little bit cruising in this. He's got this spiked slave collar on, which is amazing. He's got this majestic, curly, white man afro, and he's just apparently Maureen McCormick thinks he's extremely sexy, which is
yes. When faced with the choice for the first time of seeing him or Patrick Swayze next to him, she chooses the Wolverine.
She chooses Ron Palillo.
Yes, from Welcome Back, Kotter.
And he's very angry and very ragey and very slapping tables and
he appears to have come from the Bronx portion of Santa Monica.
West Side Story, I think. I think he was riffing it up.
The phrase "cocaine is a hell of a drug" gets thrown around a lot. But think of it this way, kids. Cocaine will make you think, I want to sleep with Ron Palillo and not Patrick Swayze.
Not Patrick Swayze, who, when he skates, he takes his shirt off and just wears just a vest. Yeah, and then he puts the shirt back on when he's not skating.
You don't. But listen, you want to show the goods. That's showtime. Everything else is private time. Oh my God! So
I do feel like Jennifer. What is her last name from Dirty Dancing?
Jennifer Grey.
Yes,
Jennifer
Grey.
Grey.
Watched this movie and was like, yep. Signing on. Yes. Will do. Will be. Yep. Mm-hmm. I've seen.
Can't believably want to sleep with that. Yeah.
Partner.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Can we talk about the opening song of this motion picture? And I put that in Dick quotes.
Skatetown USA.
Skatetown USA, which the opening rendition, it is listed that it is sung by Dave Mason. But it sounds like it's Kermit jonesing for heroin. Skatetown, Skatetown.
Well, I think Dave Mason is the singer that the DJ keeps making magically appear.
Yes.
Because he's sort of like a sort of Joe Cocker-esque performer.
Yes.
And that's the only magic trick
he
this guy
also
can
makes
do.
women disappear when he kisses them in one scene.
Yeah.
He sings his song.
And they fall off a piano into the nether realm.
They fall down and then they disappear.
Where Nancy's mom goes in A Nightmare on Elm Street when her bed disappears and she just descends into a phantasm. That's where those two ladies go.
There we go.
See, this is clearly a horror movie.
Oh, it is. It's a horror movie that's full of close-ups of packages. Oh my God, the shorts are so fucking tight on this Stanley guy in the opening sequence. They are hugging every part of his wiener.
And imagine that on the big screen when it's just the crotch.
Cinerama Dome. And so much crotch is in the opening of this. It's just Love Boat and ABC's.
And raw hot dogs sticking out of a guy's mouth.
Used as a cigar. It's
a bit.
It is a bit.
Not a funny one.
No, but that doesn't stop this movie at all, ever. The other thing I really want to point out is Becky asked immediately as I pushed play, is this from the 70s? Because you weren't sure.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly,
I mean, I was pretty sure.
What you wanted to make
confirmation.
Sure. The second is, as the camera pans up from this helicopter shot, they must have paid the pilot in cocaine. You see the reason I'll probably die of lung cancer is so much fucking smog in the background. You can barely see past the boardwalk. It's just smog. Mm-hmm. And then magically, the wizard appears. He's transparent at the beginning of this. Mm-hmm. He lives inside a DJ booth that was haunted by the Phantom of the Paradise, and he's now just kind of taken over.
Yeah.
And he looks like one of the vampires from the Omega Man.
With a $5 Spirit of Halloween.
I was very big into roller skating when I was a little girl, and our local roller skating rink did not look like this place. Nor did we have anybody rolling in dressed like a bandito, firing
live ammo.
From what appears to be live ammunition, because it shoots things in the ceiling and the ceiling falls, and you're like, that's not okay. But apparently, that's just how Flip Wilson runs Skatetown USA. The other thing that needs to be noted here, and I have now confirmed this, Skatetown USA does not occur in an actual roller skating rink. This is the Hollywood Palladium, which is a vaunted concert venue here in Los Angeles. Last time we went was for the Pixies, for I think the Doolittle 25th anniversary tour. I've seen about a dozen shows at the Palladium. Never seen this much neon or competing pinks. There's so many shades of pink that are not the same, but disturbingly different, right next to one another or right after one another. It hurt my brain.
I have to go back to something, though.
Sure.
Gina, when you skated as a little girl, could you backwards skate?
I could, actually.
So you were one of the cool girls.
For the generally ungraceful person I am now, I actually was a pretty good skater as a child. Now, I mean, I wasn't roller skating on top of a skateboard like the hero does in one scene, which
that is legitimately awe-inducing.
Yes, I did not do that, nor did I, take a belt and start whipping it around.
I didn't think roller skating presentations required that many props, but everyone kind of busts one out at one point.
Everybody's got costumes. We got a dude dressed like Uncle Sam. This roller skating contest is a very big deal because they're going to win the princely sum of $1,000
and some skis.
No, I think that the top prize is $1,000 and a moped.
And a moped.
Yep.
Yeah.
Granted, this is on the west side. So the fact that a boy comes from the valley really shakes things up.
Yeah, it really does. This is the first version of Valley Girl. Much better than that other one. I say that in jest. The other thing I want to point out about the beginning of this movie is that Maureen McCormick is in the ladies' room, which is called Curves. And everyone is sharing makeup. And that's not kosher. Don't do that.
That's just a case of pink eye waiting to happen there.
Oh, yeah. No, you can't trust all those people. They're high off their ass on cocaine. Who knows what's in that? Don't do that, kids. Flip Wilson in this movie is wearing satin pants and is desperately trying to get paid. And everyone refuses to pay him. It's like Rent.
Yes. There's like a 10-minute scene about how the orange cards were last week. We only accept the green cards. It went on and on and on.
With one of the Landers sisters making an appearance for, I think, an afternoon, being paid in cocaine with foundation that's far too light for her skin tone. Because you see the rest of her body and it's all tan except for her face.
She does look like a ghost.
Like, she looks like a ghost compared to Billy Barty, for crying out loud, who is a woke motherfucker in this, basically trying to get all the women and people of color admitted to the roller rig for free because they have not been given the same systematic advantages as white men. Rights, and so all praise to Billy Barty, who paved the way for the rest of us social justice
when he's
warriors.
Not burying his head in their boobs. Yeah.
Well,
and if you're wondering if you get to see Billy Barty on roller skates, yes, you do.
He never takes them off that I can see. He's a roller skating middle manager throughout this. There's really only a couple people not on roller skates, and that would be the guys running the snack bar who are
they're in a third movie, just completely
Yes.
disconnected from anything that's happening in the rest of the movie.
Apparently the one snack bar attendant sleeps there on the edge of the bar. That's how he's introduced. And he also holds a hot dog in his mouth like a cigar.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not okay. It's not an okay thing.
There are some hygiene concerns. Let's be honest.
Oh, or
with
he's like
snack
putting
bar.
he's like shredding the cheese and like putting his bare
In a
hand
grinder.
into a meat grinder, which is not the same thing.
On the bar where he's serving the food, where everyone can be near it, that's not hygienic
No,
at all.
no.
That place should be shut down. Ruth Buzzy is right. This place should be brought up on
It
charges.
should.
So some of you you younger folks in the audience who are going to be listening to this and like, who are these people? What? Roller skating? I think the only name you're going to recognize out of this is Patrick Swayze. But you will be perhaps a little bit disappointed to realize that there was a time before First Blood in which the idea of a Vietnam veteran having flashbacks was funny.
Yeah.
And that leads to a very long and tiring sequence with the comedian Bill Kirchenbauer, who is probably best known for being the dad in Just the 10 of Us. The dad who can't stop fucking. In the sequel the spin-off of Growing Pains, in which the plot of the show is he has a lot of hot daughters.
Yes, too many hot dogs.
And they're somehow all the same age.
Yeah, and that includes in another crossover of our podcast, one of his daughters is Heather Langenkamp.
And the actress who played Cindy in not Dream Warriors, the next one, the one that gets turned into a big bug.
Dream Master?
Yep, that's the same actress. So there you go. This totally qualifies.
Horror movie again.
As a horror movie.
This is a Halloween movie.
That tenuous connection. But yeah, he is the roller rink doctor, which I guess if you have a gang that regularly comes into your roller skating rink and just elbowing people and kicking them in the head with their skates, I guess you need a staff position.
No, you need someone there to take care of scrapes and bumps and just feel up random women.
He's not the person to do it.
But yeah, he at some point he just starts going into having flashbacks of his time in the war, which is, where something like that now is kind of tragic. There was a point where that was played for laughs, which is weird.
Where he did the same thing in Airplane.
Yes, Captain Galeen in Airplane. He's suffering from the after effects of Major Lazer. No, Macho Bravo. I'm sorry.
Macho Grande, Patrick.
Macho Grande. That's what I said.
Macho Grande. But yeah, so this is one of the much longer bits in the movie that kind of just goes on. Again, another character completely in a different movie that has nothing to do with anything else in the movie.
Now, who is the ancient comedian who's just rattling
I
off
don't know.
jokes?
He is my favorite character, though.
I know. Hold on.
That whole thing is
Leonard Barr.
Okay.
Leonard Barr. He was also in Diamonds Are Forever. He was ancient then. He's a Borscht Belt comedian, and he's telling jokes like there's a gun to his head.
Every time they cut back to him, I just started cackling like Sam Neill at the end of In the Mouth of Madness. I was just like.
This is how I told this joke, and then this girl is my taxi driver, and she asks, how far do you want to go? And then I'm bringing up on charges on Tuesday. You're like, what? There's no pause. There's no setup. There's no joke. They're all told evenly.
Babbling, and it is the funniest thing.
It's amazing.
And the weirdest part of it,
callback of cutting to the busty blonde girl who's like, "Can I have my pizza?"
Wait, it gets better.
She doesn't have time for this.
That busty lady is tragic Playboy model Dorothy Stratton.
Oh,
I mean, it's even more of a horror movie because
it's not just this movie is from the 70s. This movie is the 70s.
It's the 70s ground up, stomped on, cut with baby powder, and passed out into a bathroom. Murray Langston shows up here, the unknown comic, in a dual role as a guy who drinks and sells drugs and
Again, another character, completely different movie.
Everywhere he goes is a different movie that does not operate with anyone else.
It's kind of amusing when you realize all of these various characters that we're mentioning almost never interact with the two, I guess, the two main characters. I guess the two main characters would be, Blandy McBlanderson and Patrick Swayze. I guess those are the two main characters. But most of these supporting characters don't even ever interact with them. And it's very weird.
I think that's why Patrick Swayze is left to interact with his gum.
Oh, yeah. He's got that gum, and he keeps that gum in his mouth when he's smoking a joint.
It doesn't matter,
I don't know if that's,
right?
I don't know if that's super cool or super gross.
If he's skating, gum. If he's kissing his girl, gum. If he's smoking, gum. Just gum.
Threatening bodily harm, gum. It's just all gum all the time.
He
gum
just flings it out of his mouth at one point.
Gum and snapping his fingers.
But as soon as the gum is gone, the belt comes out. So
it's like, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah. When you go from gum to belt, shit is getting off the hook. Ace is like the Godfather on wheels. He's just constantly asking why you disrespect him and why are you asking for favors on the day of his daughter's wedding. It's just he sits in repose surrounded by Ron Palillo and various serial killers.
We're very tense.
Very tense.
Much more
yeah,
tense
these people are taking this skating contest way more serious than he is.
Yeah.
No, but the people in the skating, when they're actually skating, I wouldn't call any of that serious roller skating.
Also, there's only 3 contestants.
Yeah.
I know. And then there's all these numbers with people doing choreographed numbers, but they're not in the contest. Why aren't they in the contest?
There are people within those groups who are infinitely better, but they're like, I don't need to participate. I have a paid gig where I show up in the middle of the Palladium floor and we kind of do choreography, but it's me skating around dazzling stuff while people behind me get zapped into white tuxedo suits by the wizard.
I'm not going to compete against Ace. He might murder my dog. Things finally progress in this movie when it's determined that we got to fix the competition. We got to take out the competition with crazy props and itching powder.
Yeah, it's something.
And what was the first one?
And shining a mirror in someone's eyes, which I was like, how does that make you not roller skate good?
Why do you need to see so much?
Or turn?
I mean, it doesn't occur to anybody to, do something to their skates. Which would seem to be the most logical.
Tie their laces together.
Or maybe loosen one of their wheels or something. But no, nobody does that. They do this like back of the Richie Rich comic prop schemes.
Nobody decides to pull a Nancy Kerrigan and take someone's knee out or anything like that.
Well, I mean, and the thing is that's particularly hilarious about them using these like comic book props is that these aren't teenagers. These are like grown-ass adults. Ron Palillo was 30 when he made this movie.
And he looks
every day plus more. Patrick Swayze was not, he was like 25. I think probably the youngest person was, again, Scott Baio, and he probably was a little older, but he looked very young. But I mean,
these
people are carrying
of 18
on.
or something.
Yeah, these people are all carrying on like, a bunch of like 14-year-olds, and they're all played by 25 and 30-year-old actors.
You're right. And considering the level of intensity as well, like, I'm not calm. We got to win this. And then he's like, I'm going to use a mirror.
Let me take out my compact and, shine it in his eyes.
You wonder, like, how did they get to rule the school, as it were, as the major toughs here? It's because their conduct goes without repercussions. Mm-hmm. And
they have dirty pictures.
They have dirty pictures
that you never see, and it's very obviously someone's modeling shot. You can see it in one scene. It's like a picture of a blonde-haired woman.
This movie was not meant to be seen in high definition.
No.
I'll tell you that right.
It is just some random photo they grabbed and shoved in Flip Wilson's hands. Like, here, pretend this picture is something scandalous.
Can we speak for just a second about Ace's sister, whose name I can't recall and don't really want to look up? Ace's sister. Does she
have any dialogue?
No. I don't think she actually speaks. I think she is in a silent movie throughout the entire thing. She might mouth "oh" and no and
leave him alone.
Yes.
At one point.
Basically. But no one scripted lines for her. I'll tell you that right now. She's also projected as some sort of skating genius. She doesn't skate so good for that.
She just kind of glides.
Yes. It's a lot of like,
She's
so long as no one gets in my way, it's like, la, and it's over.
She's Ice Castles. Because that was 1978, except she's not blind. It's even
well, apparently this movie had the audacity to be sold as, well, it's kind of a spin on Romeo and Juliet.
Oh,
and it's like,
no.
And it's like nobody died this, although that would have been amazing if somebody had died just from roller skating. Say a roller skating duel where Scott Baio gets murdered like Mercutio.
If this had turned into a slasher movie a la Prom Night or The Towering Inferno, where they're all trapped inside of the Skatetown USA while it burns around them, I would have been thrilled. But unfortunately, none of that happens. You're just trapped in this love boat reality without a gopher.
And with not nearly enough cocaine.
No, not for me.
Not for the viewer.
Not for us.
No.
I opened the Blu-ray case. I did not find any cocaine inside.
That would have been handy for them to provide that. With
a tiny little packet of cocaine inside a gift for the buyer.
It's the least you can do. Who else is buying Skatetown USA but people who need a little cocaine to get through it?
We were also loving how they didn't fix things like the offbeat white person clapping to the music. Along to the music. It was so terrible. And they were like, no, we're going to leave it.
It works. They didn't have rhythm before. They don't have rhythm now. Oh, Jesus. Special appearance by Elliot Kalin. No, that's not Elliot Kalin. It's David Landsberg as Irwin, a character who appears to be some sort of 70s disco cuck who wheels in his fiance, who apparently they have not had sex on their honeymoon yet.
But they gotta go roller skating. I didn't quite understand what was, again, a fifth movie happening here.
Definitely a fifth movie.
Where she absolutely has demanded that they go roller skating. On their wedding night, despite the fact that neither of them are capable of roller skating.
Or apparently of knowing how sex works.
No, he throws up and she wears pantyhose. That's they are not... They need to consult a manual or ask a librarian.
Or anyone there at Skatetown, I would guess.
Anyone in Skatetown could have told them, A, where to get cocaine. 2, how to have sex. Because almost everyone in here looks like they've had sex, even though you don't want to know the details.
I was going to say, but probably gross, unsatisfying sex when you think about it. Except Patrick Swayze, who's probably into like some tantric shit or something.
Oh, there God. Patrick Swayze is the genius of sex.
Like he does it in roller skates.
Yeah. He will do it with the shirt on or with the shirt off, but the belt either stays on or off. And he's chewing gum, but the sex is so good you don't care, and that's what's important.
Considering how tight his pants are, why is he wearing a belt?
For props. It's a prop belt. Yeah. It's the only reason. Why is the wizard wearing a belt? It's part of a tunic. Murray Langston was never funny.
No.
And this proves it.
Yeah, no. He neither persona that he does in this movie is I mean, again, if you are under 40 and you're listening to this, I'm sorry for all the question marks that are just kind of like hanging over your head right now, because this is prime old person territory we're talking here.
I mean, we could give you the backstory, but it wouldn't matter because you wouldn't be able to know what the backstory was.
You know, these kids today don't have to research enough. It's a Google search.
Yeah, you look up unknown comic
exactly
and understand that it did not take a lot for someone to get modestly famous as a comedian in the 70s. Again, a lot of cocaine, a lot of jokes about cocaine, and you had to trust that most of your audience was also on cocaine, which they probably were.
And the guy who put the paper bag on his head, like that was a real thing, right?
That was the unknown comic. Yeah.
I have this very vague memory of seeing him maybe on the Gong Show or something.
Yep, that's pretty much what he was known for. That's pretty much all he was known for.
Okay, all right.
And the funniest thing, if there was a funny thing, it was that he always showed up to get gonged off as like a recurring character, I suppose.
Yeah, his shtick was not being a good comedian, which. Job well done. I mean, he really sold that.
Check and check. Maybe he was a wonderful individual who was gregarious and treated people well and tipped well at restaurants. But he's a fucking terrible comedian. I'll tell you that right now. Why is it that the honeymoon couple needs to go into the bathroom to put on roller skates? That is not something one needs to do in privacy. Any sort of shelf will help you put on roller skates.
Why are there so many half-naked people at the skating rink?
There's a moratorium on shirts. It's just, do you have Mork from Orc suspenders?
Oh yeah,
no shirt required.
Rainbow suspenders.
You want to come in wearing a lace teddy? Sure, come on in.
There are people in straight up swimsuits running around in this.
But then you've got Patrick Swayze. He's wearing knee pads. Safety first.
Well, he does that Russian ho, hip, ho, up and down thing. So you got to protect your knees. A dancer knows how to protect their body. Ron Palillo threatens Billy Barty at one point to the point where he goes out of focus. Like he lunges at the camera so much that the person pulling focus is like, it's too close to the camera. Leave that out.
I mean, he really is like methoding the shit out of this character who is, the henchman of a roller skating gang.
They are wearing sparkly undershirts for crying out loud.
Like I said, he's wearing a slave collar. He's got a little like do-rag. I feel like he really designed his look for his character, the character's persona, and he's a roller skating champion's henchman.
The West Side writers as a whole like to stroke one another too much. They're very handsy with one another. They are either calming or shaking.
Locker room.
Yeah. They're
There's a lot of
handsy.
touching.
Do you think you have to audition to be a West Side Wheeler?
Yes, but you don't have to fit a type because all types.
Oh, well, I mean, he's, of course, Patrick Swayze, he's only going to surround himself with ugly guys.
And he does. Congrats.
Check mark.
I mean, mission accomplished for that one. I mean, some of the girls are having a hard time keeping up.
He doesn't really need much help being, the best looking man in the room, but it doesn't hurt to have yourself immediately surrounded by some real ogres.
When the CW remakes this, they'll never get away with that.
Oh, no.
They'll all be pretty boys.
No, none of these people are TV ready. They're not movie ready. They're not play ready. They're not Shakespeare in the Park ready.
That's also the thing. Honestly, that's kind of a thing I miss about 70s movies and television, was how absolutely ordinary everybody looked.
Yeah.
I mean, just it's, the whole John Cassavetes thing. Let me just get the most unremarkable looking dudes to be in my movies, and I kind of miss that. Now everybody's just nobody has any pores now. It's disturbing.
I think it has to do with the resolution of our televisions. As we see clearer and clearer, the less imperfections TV executives want to see. And it's a problem because no one can live up to that ideal. Like, you have a window and then you're out of it.
Yeah.
And then we're seeing too much of people. It's just, it's too much. Did a guy from Car 54, Where Are You, show up in the middle of this fucking movie?
Yes, he did.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And he just, ooh, and then that's it. He zips his penis into the fly of his pants, oohs, and then we're done.
You never see him again.
It's a wrap on Guy from Car 54, Where Are You?
Yeah. It is an incredible. Oh.
Again, another completely different movie. We have 7 different movies going on here.
I mean,
none of them overlap, and really remarkably, none of them overlap with each other at any point.
No. And what I was saying about the stakes being so low, it's like, is Ace really that bad of a bad guy? I mean, he just wants to win his skating competition.
And you know what? He should.
And on any given day, he might, because he's good.
Yeah, he's better than the other 2 guys who are trying.
The other guy may, sure, he's fine. He could win. perhaps.
But Swayze's better rhythmically
Those are the
on
stakes.
the floor.
It's not like, he's so bad, or he honestly will murder you if you.
Well, the one guy who looks like the Night Stalker does want to murder people. He does want to. He talks about cutting people open repeatedly. We have not talked about one of the competition, and that, of course, is Pistol Pete, which sounds very okay, but that's before he reveals the full name, which is a long Mexican stereotype, and he's basically dressed like
he's a bandito.
Gonzalez.
He's a bandito.
Yeah.
I mentioned him earlier because he just appears like rolling down this ramp, which is how you get onto the skating rink. Just pew pew pew, like Yosemite Sam.
Like this is a giant pinball game, but there are people on the floor. This is not an example of white excellence.
He's also supposed to be a serious contender.
Yeah, and his routine is him kind of stumbling around on his skates, and it's I guess that's supposed to be, that shows some prowess on wheels. I don't know.
But like his go-to move is to crouch down low.
Yes.
Like before the itching powder really comes into the fore, it's kind of crouching down low and shooting into the air, which is like, okay, that's a move. But he's not a dancer, and he doesn't have great tricks. So like, how is Ace going to lose to this guy? And like somebody shows up in a very tight-fitting pink top with insanely feathered blonde hair. He's like, I want that man murdered. He's from the valley. I want him dead. I want his friend dead. I want his sister dead.
Dead, I mean, mess with his.
Shoot
a
wad of
BB
paper.
at him.
Yeah, like goof with him a little bit.
Spitball. What is he doing? Is it a BB gun? Is it spitballs?
It's an attempted
so it's
spitballing.
Like an 8-year-old.
Yeah, it's a drive-by fruiting, but on a very small scale.
And again, if you are a younger listener, this is going to mean nothing to you, barely means anything to us. But you have Flip Wilson, most assuredly wearing drag because that's what he was known for mostly. Yes. He's not supposed to be, was it Geraldine?
Geraldine was the character, yeah.
He's not supposed to be Geraldine, just someone who looks and sounds like Geraldine.
It's Geraldine mania. It's not quite Geraldine, but an incredible simulation.
And is it that she's supposed to be Billy Barty's girlfriend? Is that wife? Right. Okay.
Wife. Geraldine is the mother of Flip Wilson in this. That's why Billy Barty is Flip Wilson's dad.
Yes.
Oh, I totally missed this. She was supposed to be his mother.
I think we just blew our mind.
I mean, spoiler alert for Skatetown USA, but Billy Barty is playing a co-manager / father figure to Flip Wilson.
Yes.
And everyone is okay with it. At one point, Billy Barty and Geraldine have a long conversation with one another about how each of them is too much man or woman to remain monogamous, but now they can have an open relationship. And once again, all the cool stuff revolves around Billy Barty. He is so cool in this movie, not his performance, and not Billy Barty himself, but the character is soups cool. Another person we have yet to mention, really, aside from briefly, Ruth Buzzy from Laugh-In, playing a professional life scold, along with Sidney Lassick coming out of the crypt.
That was the guy?
Yeah, that was the guy with the thinning hair.
Again, a lot of Rockford File guest stars in this movie. And what was she supposed to be doing again? I was unclear on that.
Inspector. It sounded like they were from the city council.
I think they're concerned.
Right. Yeah, concerned citizens.
Who are going to propose that Flip Wilson's business license
needs to be
taken
shut
away,
down.
Which they are right.
Because there are degenerates here.
I mean, you've got somebody firing live rounds. You probably should. And also you have a local gang coming in and assaulting people on a regular basis.
You also have an omnipotent DJ who can make people disappear.
Not to mention really filthy snack bar.
Oh, God. Why can't the wizard point at the snack bar and go, fucking pull it together. Stop holding on to wieners that you sell to people.
Here, I've zapped some gloves on your hands, you fucking creep.
Here's a fucking hairnet, you grosso. Pull it together. Oh, man. So their subplot is solved. I think it's the only subplot that's solved, is that they are dosed with the drug pizza and end up getting so high that they just have a good time.
How many, like we could start like a whole sub podcast on how many movies in the 70s and 80s involved people being drugged against their will, but it's okay because they have a good time.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was like very much a thing.
Yeah. And even when you like no drugs, there's a good 20% chance that you'll just end up on the bathroom floor going, I don't like this part, and falling asleep. Not naming names. Not naming names.
Not all drugs get fed to you via pizza. That's drugs that have been put through a grinder.
A meat grinder
ground
for
onto
cheese.
the top of your pizza as if it is Parmesan.
But everyone gets high off of it, except the people who aren't eating pizza. I mean, that's the other thing. That snack bar is either desolate, no one is near it, or everyone is there. Yeah.
That's how little happens in this movie that we have to talk about the snack bar line.
Question for you both. If you were to make a bet, was anyone ever given a take two, or was every single scene a one and done?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, maybe some of the skating scenes might have been done more than once, but the joke scenes, the bits, those were all
definitely the comic stuff.
I mean, the guy with the afro, he's basically talking to himself most of the time. He's just sort of muttering these one-liners, left and right. No one's really acknowledging him. He's just sort of talking to himself.
He exists in his own place, and at one point, he just looks at Dorothy Stratton's chest and squeezes tomatoes until they burst in his face.
Yes.
And that's what this movie thinks is sex appeal.
It's a good sum up.
It is a good sum up. If I could sum it up in one description, it's grasping tomatoes to the point which they burst in your face because boobs.
Just also, if you want an idea of this movie, just picture someone wearing satin booty shorts and tight close up, and that's the whole movie. Mm-hmm. What is the gender of the person? It doesn't matter. It's just here's their butt in very tight, very short satin booty shorts.
Every person seen in this movie has a panty line. Men, women, video game cabinets, pizza, wizards, Billy Barty's tuxedo. Everyone gets it. Everyone looks like they're wearing skin-tight clothing and very large underwear. Until they're not.
I do, speaking of not, I do appreciate, Patrick Swayze's solo number in which he is shot in profile very lovingly. Mm-hmm. That scene holds for a while.
You get to see all of the Swayze. All the parts of the Swayze you don't really see in Roadhouse. It says something about the guy. You just want to see every part of Swayze, man. Like, I'm down for it.
I mean, there's nothing left of the imagination in that outfit or that camera angle.
Oh, my God. So much butt and boob grabbing in this whole movie. Every time I look up at it, someone is nonsensically grabbing boobs.
Parts.
Yeah, I mean, you on roller skates, you can easily lose your footing, and sometimes you can reach out for things, but generally you reach out for things that aren't going to move, like a wall, for instance, a door frame. Very rarely you're going to grab onto another human being, and even if you are, you're going to grab onto their arm, their shoulder, perhaps.
Not their
something where they could possibly grab you back and hold you up. You're not going to be someone's boobs while you're falling down.
Jiggly boobs with no bras, so extra jiggle.
Yeah,
exactly.
Shout out to the two busty babes who are playing video games, and Irwin approaches them, falls, grabs onto them, and then the one in the red satin shorts grabs Irwin by his ears, lifts him up,
strong,
kisses him with a very open mouth. And then it cuts to the lady playing Centipede, And she's like, we're going to sex that guy to death. But it doesn't happen. He just falls over and they're like, all right, back to Centipede, I guess. Why aren't those vampire twins in more of this movie? This movie needs more sex vampire twins.
It just needs more everything. It's too much and not enough at the same time.
That was just another one of the writer's fantasies come to life. I want a tall girl to kiss me and think I'm awesome. And then want to have sex with me. Oh.
That was my fantasy when I asked you out for a date.
I want to be able to make bearded men appear with just pointing my finger.
Yes, that too.
Can we talk about the wizard's weird? Is that a Peter Lorre impression that he's doing?
He's got the weird little glasses on.
Yes.
Yeah. At one point, he's drooling
on top of electronics. For crying out loud.
It's like, okay, someone take the cocaine away from this man. He's had enough. Actually, I think when you're drooling at that point, that's probably Quaaludes. I mean, I don't know much about drugs, admittedly. But I think if you're kind of not aware that you're drooling, that you probably
that's a bad sign.
Yeah, you're like not able to feel the entire lower half of your face.
Can you imagine what's on the cutting room floor of this motion picture?
Jesus.
I mean this Blu-ray disc looks perfect, by the way.
Oh, it's a beautiful cut. It's beautiful.
I mean, you see everything, and a lot of it you don't want to. But you see it perfectly. Like, it is preserved within an inch of its life. But there are no special features. There is no menu. You stick it in, and it just turns on.
It's almost like it's a little embarrassed of itself.
All right, we'll give you the movie, but we're not going to ask you to hit play or a trailer. Like, that's too much.
I was wondering, so this movie was made when I was, too little to go to roller rinks yet.
Yeah.
It did make me wonder, were there roller rinks that were like this though, where there were actual choreographed dance numbers?
This one was supposedly based on a real place.
Okay.
Now, if it was as extravagant looking as this place, I have no idea. I mean, my experience with roller skating rinks, they all look like they were last updated maybe 1955. You have the very unforgiving hard floor.
Yes.
You have the atrocious carpeting on everything.
Yes, pretty low ceilings.
Yeah. And you've got like the kind of crusty lockers to put your stuff in. I mean, these places were more like discos, but I mean, I don't know what the reality of that was like. I mean, I'm sure there were probably one or two places that kind of looked like that, but generally speaking,
like a disco with a roller skating night.
I assume because something was in the air. Because Xanadu comes out like a biscuit. That's true.
After they're all roller skating in that,
and that is this magical disco wonderland where everyone is roller skating.
Well, remember that in Xanadu, it was actually supposed to be like a fantasy. They wanted to.
Well, wasn't this movie?
They wanted this bizarre combination of like a disco, and also we're gonna have some 1940s music too.
At the end of this movie, the wizard looks at the camera and says, "Everything you've seen is a fantasy, like it's something out of a Midsummer Night's Dream," which makes me wonder if he has cloven hooves.
Is he the devil?
Is he the devil or is he God? Who can say?
But I feel like he's telling us this whole thing was in my head.
This guy dribbling the basketball, okay-ish. Like, that's not in your head. That really happened. He's okay at dribbling a basketball. I mean, he's I can't jump rope and roller skates. I couldn't even at my roller skating finest, which I don't think it was that great. My cousin Danny was a roller skating figure skater. Like, he had pictures of himself like blue in a jumpsuit and he could kind of do this.
Yeah.
And at the time I was like, I guess, like, I mean, I was a biscuit old. I'm like, well, some people do that. All right. But it ended up not going anywhere because none of this went anywhere because disco was about to be given a stake in the heart.
Well, that's the funny thing about all these movies is that all these roller disco movies came out one right after another within the course of maybe 6 months. Yeah. And disco, for all intents and purposes at that point, was pretty much on the way out. I mean, I think 1980 was probably the last year for it. But you've got that whole, like, I always think of that, I can't remember if it was Airplane or Airplane 2, where they're flying over the radio station tower. It's like, where disco lives forever. And they knock over the tower power.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
and the station like flicks out. I mean, at the time, like these movies were like, oh, this is going to be a thing forever. Disco's never going to die. And then you end up with movies like The Apple.
Exactly.
Thank God. But I mean, in terms of like plot coherence, The Apple is way easier to follow than this.
It is because it is one single movie. Yeah. It's not a movie that makes a lot of sense, but it is, one single movie that tries for a cohesive plot that eventually brings all the characters together, which this one does not. For a movie that takes place in one place, in one night, there are so many characters.
Basically real time.
Yeah, in real time, it's so many characters just doing things, probably within 50 feet of each other, and somehow are never on screen at the same time.
No,
and it's very bizarre.
I'm sure they shot all the roller rink stuff with actual skaters.
Oh yeah, I mean the routines and all. I mean, there's probably a reason why Patrick Swayze is never on screen with Ruth Buzzy, and because their scenes were filmed on different days. They're
nowhere near one another. They don't exist in the same time and space.
And while the routines look good on the outset, if you watch them for 2.5 minutes straight, which is what these are, they really run out of steam. All of them.
Yeah, you see a lot of like missed choreography,
and bad flips, and you kind of go,
no one's really skating. Not a lot of people are actually skating so much. It's kind of dancing on roller skates, which isn't exactly the same thing. Like when Patrick Swayze's gang shows up, they kind of do this whole like like West Side Story thing, where they're like up on their toes and kind of like swinging around, but no one's ever actually skating.
Well, there's two modes. There's like dancing on roller skates, and then there's long like balletic movements as you glide across the floor.
Like what else?
Like I actually don't think Stan the Hero should have won the contest. Not maybe at best the solo, but certainly the where he can they're just sort of gliding around with each other, and then like even his solo, he's like walking on his hands. He's on a skateboard, which is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean it's
the Poochie of roller skating moves.
It's impressive, but it's still stupid at the same time. He's not really skating that much. He's flexing and he's hammering it up, and but he's not the best skater. Ace is the best skater, god damn it.
Ace glides onto stage and busts light bulbs with his ass.
Ace needs confidence, right? This is what it comes down to. Yes. Ace needs a shot of confidence. You are the best, buddy.
He does.
You don't need anyone to fix it.
You know what he needs? He needs feel-good Freddy Krueger to come and go, oh, you need a pick-me-up. I'm going to do some shtick near you. And then you end up dead, but he's always trying to help.
You believe in yourself.
Yeah, believe in yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, he needs to be, not, abusing and assaulting people at a local roller skating rink. He should be trying to, he should be trying to apply for like the U.S. Olympic roller skating team.
Exactly.
Yes.
So shall we talk about the great skate off at the end? The big ending?
Well, hold on.
No, we're not ready.
We've got a couple things to talk about. One is that the waiting room for people to roller skate is just outside underneath the pier, just like in a parking lot. It's not even a...
This would only bother Patrick, but okay.
Secondly, this movie posits a world in which Maureen McCormick and Ron Palillo are inches away from fucking in a car that is not Ron Palillo's. At one point, he just says,
you didn't buy their scorching chemistry.
She also does not seem disappointed that she missed out on her big skating moment.
No, she's high off her ass on drug pizza. Oh. Dave Mason has a lyric. The main chorus of his love song is, "I fell in love over you." Over you. Like a drop cloth or a tarp.
Also, the song he sings is called Roller Girl, which, God, please, I hope Paul Thomas Anderson watched this movie and found it inspiring for Boogie Nights. Please, God, that would be the best thing. If I ever get an opportunity to interview him, I'm going to say, have you ever seen Skatetown USA? And he's going to say, I have you? And then we're just going to talk about it for 45 minutes straight. It'll be amazing.
That is the worst version of a Rolling Stone song I've ever heard during the
it's
final
a disco.
duo.
It's a disco version of Under My Thumb.
Yeah, it is ungood. It's like something you would hear on Quincy. It's oh god. And during the dual skate, there's a lot of tummy touching. Everyone kind of like, hey, tummy touch. As they kind of caress upwards.
It's really Patrick Swayze's move. He likes to caress his partner's belly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, do you have a tum-tum problem? It's not cool. And yeah, I mean, is there anything we missed? I'm sure like another hour's worth of material.
There's so much happening. And yeah, a lot of it isn't funny, but it's so you can't help but just note it in your brain. But yeah, Becky brought up the skate off at the end because I don't even remember. I just watched it last night. I don't even remember how it was resolved that they don't have to let Ace win the contest. But anyway, so the bland guy wins. He gets his princely sum of $1,000, which was worth threatening murder
because he saved his life. Because he saved Ace's life.
Because they have some sort of like literal Fonzie jump the shark
I didn't
shit.
get that at all because he said, I cut his brakes, so when he hits his brake, it's not going to work. He's going to go off the pier, and then Ace is thrilled with this idea.
Well, here's the thing that we've not mentioned is that they are for this race they are wearing skates with outboard motors attached to them.
Like weed whacking motors.
This is a thing. This is a thing. Didn't you? Come on, Patrick. Didn't you have your skates with your outboard motors attached to them? I mean, that was very big fiscal 79.
This was not a thing
that you operate with a handbrake.
Yes, that's some straight up chips shit.
That you have to apparently. In order to operate them, you have to have this sort of crouch that looks. And they also have what I really love is they both have matching helmets. Their helmets match their outfits, which was amazing foresight on their parts.
But what I don't get is while Blandy McBlanderson goes off the pier because his brakes fail, which makes sense because they fixed it. Yeah. Why does Patrick Swayze not use his brakes?
He's bad at it. I'm not sure.
I don't get it.
But they both go off the pier, and then it turns out that Ace can't swim.
Yeah,
and that's his kryptonite is water.
So he does the lifeguard, the senior lifeguard school. I'll throw my arm around you and drag you back to shore.
Yes, and
then they have a sincere moment.
Yes,
don't tell my friends. And Blandy McBlander says, "Well, I'm the hero," and I'm like,
"Are you?
Yeah, you're like 25."
I mean, you're a hero in that you carry off that pink top. I mean, that's heroic. But it's not.
You're a hero in that you didn't let a man drown.
Yeah. Again, bare minimum. Like, you know how to swim and this other guy doesn't. So you drag him out.
Also, I mean, they're both wearing roller skates with outboard motors. They're sinking like stones. Let's just face it.
Yes.
They got cement shoes
no one's coming out of that race.
I mean, they're fit within an inch of their lives, so maybe I'm not going to put it past them. But
but those old school roller skates were like 5 pounds on each foot. Yeah. And I mean, who even knows how much attaching a lawnmower motor to pack them, make them heavier.
And then they're friends.
And they're friends for life.
Everything
they skate together.
And then they do like a roller skating cha-cha line, which is amazing. It's led by Billy Barty at one point.
Participates in, yeah. Oh man, the only other scene I want to talk about is when Ron Palillo and the Night Stalker don't want to be overheard by everyone around them while very loud disco music plays, and Ron Palillo goes to distract. You're only calling attention to your nefarious plans. It's a very bad subterfuge. Very bad.
Add it to the list.
They're not good at being henchmen.
Every decision in this movie is wrong on a subatomic level.
Except maybe saving his life.
I don't know. At one point, Flip Wilson reappears wearing a black version of the Unknown Comics bag.
Yeah.
That's
ouch.
Uncool. Yeah.
Oh, well, so's the very 70s humor of the meek little white lady being hit on by the big scary black man, which is and he gives her his afro pick, and I'm just like, oh God almighty.
Ugh. Everything about it just makes me feel ill. So the question is, if you were to die in some way portrayed in this movie, what way would you choose? Your choices are go off a pier and drown with motorized roller skates on, or die in a drive-by mini fruiting.
E. coli laced pizza.
E. coli laced pizza. Becky, I choose you to go first.
What was the second one?
Mini fruiting by Pea Shooter.
Oh, yes. Gosh, it's so difficult to choose.
It is.
I think I'd want to go out with a big, splash. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're going off the pier?
Just going off the pier.
Even though that's not the way piers work. Piers work in straight
Virginia
lines.
Woolf'n It.
Piers work
roller
in
skate style.
Virginia Woolf'n It. Is that that's what the kids call it?
Yeah.
Virginia Woolf'n It? All right. Good to know. Gina, what say you?
I can't believe you're not offering me the option of being zapped into some sort of neither world by a white afro wigged wearing magician. Because I mean, when you I think you've known me long enough that seems very on brand for me.
Yeah, it is.
I think she should have that option.
There's no hand or face trauma, so that really is up your alley. Well, if we're free balling it here, and which as many of the people in satin pants are, I would go dying by lesbian vampire twins near the centipede machine. I want to be held up by my ears and kissed to death until I die, which it doesn't last very long. So I've got that going for me. Yeah,
it's good while it lasts.
It is, by the looks of things. So that just about does it. Happy Halloween, everybody. What a way to go out. This will be our episode for this week, but who wanted an episode of Kill by Kill on November 1st? Fuck that noise. Let's come out on Halloween. And that just about does it for this episode. And so just before we go, let's talk about a new review that we've received on iTunes from Dick Quotes. Always funny and a great escape on a lousy day. The hosts are hilarious and get me way more interested in horror films than I would ordinarily be, which is a very nice review.
Well, thank you, Mr. Quotes.
Yes. We have another one from, it says great horror podcast. Doesn't give a name, or maybe it says Hunter, Florida. Very entertaining podcasts. The one-offs like the episode on Pieces are usually my favorites, but it's fun to hear Patrick and Gina go through the Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street movies as well. Highly recommended. So thank you ever so much for those new podcast reviews on iTunes. If you would like to contribute, let us know what your favorite kill is or movie that we've covered, and we'll talk about it here on the podcast. It's our solemn promise to you. Gina, where can people find you on these here internets?
I have my own website in which I write about movies and old television, other sundry pop culture things at ginaradcliffe.com. I am also a staff writer at thespool.net. I recently finished up recapping the series on Becoming a God in Central Florida, which if you have not watched that, you should definitely watch that. And also the first 3 episodes of the Apple Plus series, The Morning Show, which you should absolutely avoid at all costs. Just that is my advice to you. And you can also find me on Twitter under Porcelain72.
All right, do it today, people. Check it out. Of course, you can find us on Twitter at KillByKillPod. You can find us on. You can send us an email at killbykillpod@gmail.com. We have the Facebook group and page where you can discuss all things horror and the episodes in greater detail.
And aren't you guys still top 25?
We
Apple?
are still top 25 in TV.
So all you viewers out there, vindicated that you've been hanging on.
Take that, haters. Despite
digging our little fingernails in and not letting go.
Nope, we're still top 25, baby. As of today, we are still in there in film histories. So that's nice.
Whatever. Okay.
Whatever. In the podcast slot, it's top 25. That's all that matters. And so for myself and for Gina and for Becky, bye-bye, everybody.
Happy Halloween.
Bye.
Boo, happy Halloween. Cocaine.